Today I wanted to talk about using quizzes for relational, emotional coaching, courses, classes, videos, podcasts, things like that. We see a lot of our customers having a lot of success in this space, which I think makes a lot of sense intuitively, right? Like if you think about the classic, really popular quizzes like Myers Briggs or Enneagram, or now there's human design type and things like that, it's really well suited for things like relational coaching or helping people through dating and marriage and whatever form of relationship that you're talking about, as well as within yourself, so your relationship with yourself, emotions, things like that. So I want to highlight a couple of different examples. These are purposely set up in ways that are pretty unique from each other. So, not all, we're going to look at three quizzes today. They're not all the same, and that's on purpose, just to kind of exemplify that the first point in terms of strategy around using a quiz to build your list, if you are a relationship or emotional or whatever coach, I didn't mean to say whatever. I meant these are all very important things and something that I personally take a lot of interest in and spend a lot of time and money investing in my own well-being in terms of emotions. So not at all meaning to demean any of these industries. I think it's all really beautiful work that's being done. So anyways, the first point here is that you want it to just reflect how you show up. So if your intake process, if you're working with someone new and you tend to just have a really long conversation with them, then great, your quiz might be longer. If you're the type of person that is highly intuitive and you feel you can pretty quickly pinpoint the areas that someone could use help in, then your quiz might be shorter. And it's really simple to think about a quiz when you come at it from the perspective of how do I want to show up? How do I want to connect with my potential customers, my audience? What are the things that really are going to resonate in terms of how I want to show up in this process? So rather than it being like, oh, this quiz strategy, let's do a lead generation quiz and everybody's talking about it. Sure, yeah, everybody's talking about it, but I think at the same time, it's really important to just be true to yourself. And so let's jump into these and look at how they're all set up. This first one here, I think, is a really great setup. It's on this website. I believe this is spelled Yuhum or Yuhim. Um, and apologies if I messed that up. And on this site, there's this quiz right here along the top. Are you emotionally sensitive? Take the sensitivity quiz. Really cool because it aligns with her headline here, which says helping sensitive souls be free from anxiety. She has group classes, coaching, and podcast about me here. Really cool. Some testimonials. Again, I think this is all really well done, and the quiz just fits right in. So let's take it and see how it's set up. We click that link. It says, are you emotionally sensitive? Has a feature picture of her so that you know that it's carrying on. So you could be a highly sensitive person or be more emotionally sensitive than others. Uncover the true gift of your sensitivities and emotional depth. I like that a lot. It turns it around from a, I think perceptively, right? You can think about emotionally sensitive as maybe not the best thing, but she's turning it around of how do you use that as a gift, which I think is awesome. And that would be point number two. So point number one being stay true to yourself when you're writing your quiz. And point number two, use the quiz to help highlight a positive aspect of the person person who's taking the quiz. In terms of motivation and what actually moves people, positivity much more than negativity. So if this quiz was turned around, it was flipped on its head, right? And it was like, find out why you're so freaking emotional all the time, right? Like negative. It's not motivating. If anything, it's demeaning and it makes people not want to show up and work on themselves. So second point is turn everything around into a positive aspect of the quiz taker so that you can then use that as helping them motivate. I really like this. This is cool. I think that this GIF really exemplifies the question, but it's also on brand. The colors of these GIFs are great. Sometimes with GIFs, what I see is they're just really far off from the actual design of the site. Like the site will be this really nice neutrals, like this website that we're on, and then the GIF will be like all these flashy colors, and it just looks off. So I like that these GIFs are muted tones. That's point number three here is going to be that imagery and GIFs that you use in your quiz must match the design of your site. It's going to just look off. It's going to throw people off. They're going to be less likely to finish the quiz and less likely to opt in. So, really good job here, I think, of having these GIFs match the design of the site. I'll go kind of fast through these. I think she did a great job with these questions. So, not really a lot to comment on here. And as we get to the end, let's look at how that's set up. Okay, so enter your email to see results. The one point that I might have here, and I can't advise specifically on what to put on opt-in forms legally, you got to consult your legal professional for that. But I would say personalizing this a little bit to the topic of the quiz, so emotional sensitivity could help. Um, but overall, the design still matches, so it's solid. This is going to redirect us to a result page here, and it says you are a sensitive soul and you should cherish it. I think that's really nice. First of all, I'm happy to meet another fellow sensitive soul. So that's cool. And there's a special offer to join a free class. I mean, I think this is a really great setup here. The one thing I might do is build this out a little bit. So, since we are talking about the benefits of being a highly sensitive person, and we'll make this point number four here. So, point number four is going to be to build out your results to give people some actionable items. There are some here. So, miraculous at greatest gift towards creativity and confidence. So that's a good little point, but I might add some bullet points here that just say what you can do with your highly sensitive soul, things like that. Just some action items that I can take and run with for the rest of my day and be thinking about. Maybe a podcast episode to listen to, because it looks like she does have a podcast, a video. So there's probably some more things that I would add here to these results. But overall, really, really great quiz. So let's jump over to the next one. This is from Balanced Black Girl. Awesome podcast about wellness and connection, finding balance, all those types of things. This quiz here, which is featured on the home page, is find your self-care archetype. Let's click the take the quiz and check it out. So the quiz is going to load in. What kind of self-care do you need? In terms of the title, we can make this our next point, point number 5. So the title here, you're really asking a question that's the same thing that you would ask if you were consulting with somebody first, right? So I don't have a lot of context on this one, but I would assume that they are helping people find ways to take care of themselves and implement self-care into their lives. So this is a really great quiz because it kind of helps narrow that down, because it can be a little intimidating, right? It's like, you need self-care. Okay, what does that mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just like take baths all day? Like, that's what it seems like on the internet, right? But this kind of narrows it down and makes it actionable. So again, going back to that point of the positive, actionable, motivational piece, I think this is a great title. I like these gifts. Again, they're on brand. They match the design of the site. Really great. These are good questions. With question strategy, people ask about that a lot, and we have another video that we'll link to just on question strategy. I would say at a high level, it goes back to how you talk. So however you talk, put that in the title, in the question text, this one here, like the big part of the question. And then however people tend to respond, put that in the answer choices. And so much easier to just reconstruct from your actual conversations rather than trying to do best practices and things like that. It's just too much work. So get your personalized self-care plan. So this is great here. I'm going to go ahead and put in my email. This is my email. Everybody already knows it. Um, so it's going to send me my results now. So that's cool. I think that's not exactly best practice for us. We do recommend showing it right away, but here's an example, right? Like you can do it this way, and that's okay too. Like if that's what feels right for you, then you can send the results in an email, and they're using Flowdesk to do that. So that is another way of doing it. Let's jump to the third one, which is from Love Intently. It's a really great podcast by Sophie Kwok, and it's all about relationships and conflict and connection, and she talks about human design type and all these great things, trauma. This quiz really stood out to me because it's different. It's long. It's an attachment style quiz, which is something that people are already familiar with, but it's 40 questions and it's much simpler in design than a lot of the other quizzes. And I wanted to highlight that just to go back to that first point, which is whatever really is going to connect with how you really show up. Like maybe you need these 40 questions to really understand somebody. And I think the questions here are awesome. First of all, she did an amazing job of writing these questions in a way that doesn't just feel like I'm filling out some long survey. I think that these questions make this quiz not feel so long. Also, the simple design of it, the way that it shows up on this page. Honestly, I'm clicking through this fast, but I think that it just feels like an experience. And there's not really a way to reverse engineer that other than the hack there is just to sit down with people who might actually be taking your quiz, ask them the questions and see how they respond, see what the responses are like. Again, I'm going to go ahead and opt in here. Yeah, my one point here would be to maybe personalize this a bit more. Can't advise on this formally. This is cool. I get a breakdown of my top results. So anxious, avoidant, and then secure. That's interesting, and I can click into these and read more. I think that's cool, especially because I did answer 40 questions. So it makes me feel validated in, having my full breakdown of my results, which then goes back to the point number 4 that we had, right? Which was you want those results to be built out to reflect the level of investment that somebody put into the quiz. So if it's a short quiz, like 5 questions, you might just have a blurb and then, a link to go check some stuff out. If somebody's investing 3, 5, 10 minutes answering your quiz, it's nice to give them more explanation, right? So in this case, like I can read through these 3 examples and see all of that. And then obviously the big moneymaker, if you will, here is the opt-in, because all these quizzes have that opt-in built in. And at Interact, across our portfolio of quizzes, the average opt-in rate is 40%. So 40% of people who start a quiz, so they click this button to start the quiz like this, they click the button, end up opting in on average. That's across our portfolio. We've generated about 90 million leads overall across all of our customers over the last 10 years. We've been doing this a really, really long time. So if you're interested in jumping in, we actually have some really cool resources for you, especially in the relational space. If you go to this URL, tryinteract.com/quizzes, and I'll put that in the links below. We have some categories that are pretty relevant here. So if you go down to, I believe we have one called personal development. Maybe not. We have relationships. That's the one that we have. So relationships. Are you ready for a serious, conscious, grown-up relationship? What's your attachment style? What kind of communicator are you? Is your relationship healthy? So you can start with any of these. Just click in here, and then you can click use this template. You can also preview it and check that out and go through it. So these are all built according to those best practices that I was talking about. Um, or if you want, you can go to our main site and click this book a strategy call link and then chat with one of our experts about how to best set up your quiz before you jump in or anything like that. So these are the best practices for relational quizzes. Again, the number one most important one is like the best practice is to show up as yourself and connect with people the way that you really would in real life. And that's going to keep you grounded in creating the quiz experience. And then also, actually, it leads to better results in terms of getting those opt ins and building that email list. So give it a shot, check out the site, browse through those templates. If you want to chat with somebody on our team, click the book a strategy call and we'd be happy to chat with you. We also have a really engaged community where you can ask questions and get advice. We have a lot of relationship coaches in there. So if you are a relationship coach or you work in that space, definitely something to check out and something that's become really popular recently. So hope to see you in the community, or and hopefully I'll be highlighting one of your quizzes in the future.